maybe in hindsight, do you see other opportunities, especially since you've seen a lot of the world now? Do you have other things that you would put on that list of things to do with a math degree?
The world is your oyster if you have a math degree. Data drives so many things that if you have a degree in mathematics, you can understand how to take large quantities of data and analyze it and exploit it to the benefit of your organization. You have a bright future ahead of you.
Greetings. Welcome to Eric's Angle, the podcast for Iowa State mathematics students. I am your host, Eric Weber, chair of the mathematics department. Today's guest is a Georgia Bulldog. He is Lieutenant Colonel Eric Lopez, chair and professor of Air Force Aerospace Studies and also commander of the Air Force ROTC detachment here at Iowa State. Lieutenant Colonel Lopez earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics from the University of Georgia in 2006. His assignments in the U.S. Air Force include various missile combat crew positions at F.E. Warren Air Force Base, Wyoming, Deputy Chief of the U.S. Air Forces in Europe, Nuclear Operations Center at Ramstein Air Base, Germany, and Director of Operations, 741st Missile Squadron, Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota. Please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Eric Lopez. Hi, Eric. Welcome to Eric's Angle. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
So why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I am Lieutenant Colonel Eric Lopez, and I am in the United States Air Force on active duty, and I've approaching about the 17-and-a-half-year mark coming up about next month, actually. And I've had the opportunity to serve in quite a lot of places, but if I start from the beginning, I'll go back to kind of grade school a little bit. I moved to Georgia in my middle school years and finished up middle school and high school after my parents had moved around quite a bit prior to that. And we lived in this small town in South Georgia. It was a suburb of Savannah, actually. And I realized pretty quickly I need to do something else. After I graduate high school, I got to get out of this small town and go see the world. So I took myself up to the University of Georgia, where I initially wanted to study computer science. And after a couple of years in that program, I realized computer science wasn't for me. The first couple of classes, coding Java, were a lot of fun, and I actually had a professor who, as he would teach a new topic, he would have us code a game that implemented that lesson, that objective, to kind of help us cement that learning, if you will. And it culminated in learning recursion, and we had to code our own version of a Minesweeper game. And I had a really fun time doing that, but then got into C++ and had to learn memory management and all those things, and I was in way over my head. So I had to do some self-reflection, and I realized, hey, growing up through grade school, I really enjoyed math. I liked the hard sciences, being able to take input, run a process, an algorithm, what have you, and get an output. I really liked that over the humanities type subjects. So I talked to an advisor, switched over to math, and that's what I got my degree in from the University of Georgia. After a year after that, I joined ROTC. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself on how I decided to go Air Force, but I went to the Air Force, came on active duty, and then I've had the pleasure of serving in a whole bunch of locations like Valdosta, Georgia, Del Rio, Texas, Santa Maria, California, Cheyenne, Wyoming. I've been to Germany, Minot, North Dakota, and then ultimately here in my present position as the commander of the Air Force ROTC unit here at Iowa State in Ames. So it's been a pretty great career so far. I am married. My wife is got her biology degree at the University of Georgia, and we have 2 daughters, an 11-year-old and a soon-to-be 8-year-old. So life is pretty good.
Yeah, sounds great. So you were not starting University of Georgia as an ROTC member. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
In high school, I toyed with the idea of going to the academy. I actually started the application process. Did not meet with congressman to secure my nomination that's required for an appointment because I took a visit up to Athens to see the University of Georgia and just fell in love with the campus and the area and decided I want to go here. And if I still want to make the military a career later on, I can join ROTC and do that. Well, I got to the University of Georgia and didn't sign up for ROTC, and then it was a year after I changed to math where I was trying to figure out what am I going to do with my life. And at 20 years old, figured I have 3 options. I can teach, I could go into research, or hey, there was this Air Force thing that I had thought about a while back. Let me go, I can take a look at that. And so I opted to go talk to the local ROTC detachment to see what my options were at that point. And luckily, I was early enough on, or I had enough time left in my degree plan that I could join and finish their program and then earn a commission.
Well, I'm glad you were able to do that.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I think had I joined, had I tried to do that in today's kind of environment where we don't have the need for as many officers as we did. This was, 2005 at that time, so we were, just a couple of years into the Iraq War. We had been in Afghanistan for a few years, so there was a greater need for service members at that point. We were recruiting to a higher level. So currently, it would be a lot tougher to bring someone into our program that late into their college career, but I was fortunate at that time. So right time, right place.
So you mentioned the thinking that you had at the time as a math major that you could either be a teacher or a researcher, and then it's kind of the list kind of trails off at that point. And I had that experience myself when I was a math major, and I think a lot of students that are either currently studying math or thinking about studying math, they have a similar type of mentality. And part of this podcast is actually to illustrate to our students that there are lots of directions to go in with a math degree. And so I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit more, and then maybe in hindsight, do you see other opportunities, especially since you've seen a lot of the world now? Do you have other things that you would put on that list of things to do with a math degree?
Absolutely. I think the world is your oyster if you have a math degree, and I can say that honestly. Data drives so many things in the modern world that if you have a degree in mathematics, you can understand how to take large quantities of data and analyze it and exploit it to the benefit of your organization. You have a bright future ahead of you. And I think the training you get in a math program definitely lends itself to those types of skills.
Are there things in any of the branches of the military that would be particularly suitable for people that have studied mathematics?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you asked. I have a couple of colleagues of mine that are also ROTC detachment commanders at other schools who are part of the operations analyst career field, the what we call the specialty code 15 Alpha or 15A in the Air Force. There are likely similar career fields in the other service branches, but I can speak to the Air Force specifically, where we collect heaps and heaps of data from our training, through wargaming and through live operations that these folks, given their math backgrounds, can take that data, analyze it, crunch it, exploit it, and they provide real actionable advice to our senior leaders who need to figure out, okay, this didn't work, or we weren't as efficient in how we executed this plan. And those folks, those operations analysts, can help them tailor plans, come up with new strategies so that we can better use the forces we have to accomplish our overall security objectives. And it's no secret that budgets are not going to continue growing infinitely. We're not going to be able to recruit at the levels we did in the Cold War era, as it were. We have to do more with less. You'll hear that in so many arenas. And that's where our operations analysts really make their money, is figuring out how to economize and make things more efficient and help our senior leaders really make data-based decisions to accomplish the objectives that our civilian leadership want us to accomplish.
And so these colleagues of yours that you're referring to, they are actually active military members, correct?
Correct.
But are there other positions that are civilians that would be doing something similar?
I would imagine, so I can't say with 100% certainty, but I would imagine there are civilian positions, government service positions that are in an equivalent career field. They would have some other kind of title, but we typically have civilians working alongside of our uniformed members doing very similar things, especially in non-combat roles. So yes, if someone had a math background but wasn't particularly interested in being in uniform, they could pursue a civilian career with the government and be able to put those skills to great use.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting to me. So, so you probably didn't really think about that type of position or duties as a military member when you joined ROTC. So I'm wondering, at the time you joined, what were you thinking about in terms of your activities in the military, in the Air Force?
Yeah, that career field didn't exist then. It's actually a fairly young career field. However, when I was in ROTC, I wanted to fly fast jets. And so I was singularly focused on, I'm going to go to the Air Force. I want to be a pilot and fly things that move really fast. So that was the plan and path I pursued. But that's not ultimately what was in store for me. My career field's actually nuclear and missile operations. So I am trained to operate the Minuteman III weapon system. And that is not something that's only open to people with a math or even a STEM background. You could be in that career field with almost any degree. They do want a certain percentage of their officers to hold a technical degree. But yes, so my math skills, while I'm not crunching numbers on a daily basis, they are very effective in being able to problem solve. So most of leadership, military leadership anyway, is solving problems. And I was able to rely on the training I received as a math major in taking inputs, analyzing the situation, figuring out how to use what is given to me to bring myself to a favorable outcome. And I really believe that my math training helped me in that regard.
And have you thought about life after your tour in the military?
I have, and that is a moving target. So I have at least 2.5 more years before I'm eligible to retire, but we're having a great time, so likely to stick around a little bit beyond that. After I do retire, given my education background and my skill set within the military, I think the natural landing place for me would be, still in the government sector somewhere as a government civilian, or perhaps working as a defense contractor. That's the likely path, but I joke that I would love to have a job working at a pro shop on a golf course too. So I'm not taking anything off the table at this point.
I see. Yes. I probably had that dream also at some point in my life, working in a pro shop on a golf course. I also had a dream of flying fast jets too. I was thinking about when you said that you weren't quite coming of age when Top Gun came out, I imagine. But that came out. The first one came out when I was just starting high school, and I thought to myself, that's really what I want to do. So
I was definitely influenced by that movie. I
Yeah.
saw it growing up, and it definitely left a mark on me.
So now looking back, as I said, you've seen a lot of the world, as you indicated with your experience, and you have some level of wisdom that comes with age. So what would you recommend to our students to think about as they are pondering future possible careers in mathematics?
Yeah. Take advantage of your time here at school. Study, study, study. I was not a great student. I could have put more effort into my studies, and I think my professional life would have been further enriched by that. But beyond that, keep asking the why. So you're going to learn how to do things, how to solve problems, how to prove various things, but ask the why. That's the most important piece of it. When you understand why that process works the way it does, why that algorithm gets you to a specific answer, you're going to be much better off. You're going to be able to solve more problems down the road using that same foundational knowledge. It really is not enough to just know how. You got to know why. Then you'll be ahead of things. You'll be able to make predictions. You'll be able to handle adversity, complexity, ambiguity, and that will set you apart from your peers and make you when you're considering employment, make you a more attractive candidate to a prospective employer.
Well, any last words for our audience?
Yeah, I'm excited for you all that are, the math undergrads that are watching this. You have an exciting world of possibilities ahead of you. Take advantage of your time in school. I know I always look back on my studies with fond memories, not just being in the classroom, but all of the other experiences that go along with being in college. So enjoy it and just get everything out of it that you can, because the rest of life comes at you pretty quickly.
Yes, I think that's good advice. So, Eric, I appreciate you appearing on Eric's Angle. Thanks again.
Thanks, Eric. I really was really glad to be here and share my story with everyone, and wish them all the best of luck, and take care.